bit sick of people saying to me like, "Oh, you're single."
I mean, there's fun parts.
I'm sure.
Like, obviously, like most of the time it ends with like getting hurt, but like that first feeling.
Okay, my point is made.
Welcome to the SheerLuxe Team Podcast with me, Charlotte Collins. This week I'm joined by Lu Hough, Harriet Russell and Vanessa Menrad. It's our first one back together.
Oh, it is.
Welcome back. Never done one with you,
I was
Vanessa.
gonna say, yeah,
nice.
it's our first time together as well.
I'm excited. How nice. How is everyone? How was your weekend, Lou?
My weekend was much better than it was the car crash that I had last weekend.
I did see as you were uploading your Insta stories last night about that weekend. I was like, "Where's this going?"
Yes,
It's not much happened.
Yeah, we had a disaster. We were meant to be going to Copenhagen, wanted to go for ages for my brother's 40th. It was our wedding anniversary. It started off badly that my mum got COVID earlier in the week. So first of all, mum was out. So just going to be me, my brother and the kids. And then on Thursday, we drove to the airport and my daughter was projectile vom everywhere in the car, which has never happened before. I've also got a really bad phobia of this. So this is like my worst nightmare waiting to happen. I was sat in the back with her. Anyway,
Got to be a mum now.
We cleared it up. We changed seats. 5 minutes later, the same thing happened. We were like, right, we're not getting this flight. Went home, kind of watched her just to see if she was okay. Spoke to my brother. We couldn't move the trip because it was too expensive. So we were like, right, I really need to try and make this happen. So I was just going to go, and then Lou got jealous, and he was like, no, okay, I'll come too. And then we got there in the evening. Spent so much money on a new flight. Got there in the evening.
And did Bobby still go with you?
Bobby came
This
with
is the
us.
next day, right?
The next day. This is the next day. Yeah, she was absolutely fine. Like nothing, not phased. We checked into Villa Copenhagen, which is mega. Like it
It
is.
looked
Yeah,
insane.
It is so incredible. There's 400 rooms.
Oh my god.
It's absolutely massive. It's in an old post office. The architecture is stunning. And the room was lovely. Super excited. They have an amazing bakery downstairs called Rug, which I was so excited to try.
Bakery in the hotel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
amazing.
Nice. Yeah.
Anyway, then that evening, me and my husband woke up at 12 o'clock, like literally on the dot, both together, suddenly sat up and we were like, do not feel good. And
Bobby's giving you her bug.
Yeah.
spent the whole of the rest of the trip in the hotel room.
Oh,
Not in the way
so
you
sad.
want to.
No. Not in a sexy way.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
no.
another definition of intimacy.
So yeah, we didn't
There you go.
see anything,
That's
and I'm
so
so
sad.
gutted because we've been so
Terrible
looking forward to.
story.
And then on the way back, my brother messaged me and was like really lovely trip, but me and my daughter have now caught the bug.
And also
yeah.
lovely trip, but he had spent the whole weekend.
Yeah,
looking after
exactly.
just the
So
children
yeah,
by
so
himself,
on the
right?
morning when we woke up, Lou and I were like absolutely out cold, and we were like, we need to do something with Bobby. So we said to James, I was like, do you mind taking her? So he literally spent his 40th with two children. That was it. So yeah, it was not the
so
best.
miserable.
But really want to go back again because I had so many amazing recommendations for people, and it just looks like such a cool
I
city.
know.
Have you been?
No, it's really on my list as well.
It's
I
high
really
on my
wanna
list,
go.
but I'm
Yeah.
aware that it's supposed to be quite expensive. So
Yeah.
it's one of
Yeah,
those
I've
things
heard
where
that.
it's like you can't just treat it as like a quick
Yeah.
city
Yeah.
break.
Although a lot of people say it's just like London. Like,
True, London's
I don't think.
expensive
Yeah,
too,
it's.
yeah.
But yeah, I think we're gonna go back in the summer when hopefully bugs won't.
Let's risk a virus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame. There's also nothing worse than when you're at the hill in a hotel room.
Oh
and
my
all we
God.
want in the world is just to be home. It's
I
the
know.
worst.
The only good thing was that the bed was so comfortable.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. That's lucky.
And yeah, but that was.
But also when you're on like a countdown thinking,
Yeah.
this has to come right because in 24 hours I have
I know.
to
Yeah, gotta get
you
on a
have to
plane.
get a flight.
Worst.
the worst.
The
I have
worst.
never been sicker than I was at Amsterdam airport. I was literally
Oh,
just like lying on the
no.
chairs, like put me out, just put me out.
Yeah, it's the worst when that happens.
The only silver lining is like the whole thing was, as I said, my absolute worst nightmare, and I've been dreading it happening. And
Bobby being sick, you mean?
just like all of us having some sort of sickness bug.
But also you being
altogether.
sick. Were you
exactly.
sick?
Me,
Were you
I
actually
was,
sick? Oh,
and I
wow.
haven't been sick since I was 13.
That's wild.
Yeah, because my phobia is so strong that I think I've taught my body to not vomit.
Wow.
I'm the same. I'm so scared of it that I'm like,
Yeah,
don't do it.
and often I think like it would be much easier if I just was, because this is what my body needs to
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
needs to happen
You
to
know,
feel
expel
better.
it.
but I have a panic attack. I shake, my teeth
God.
chatter. It's horrendous. But yeah, I live to tell the tale.
Exactly,
So
yes.
I feel like I'm like proud of myself that I managed to get through it.
Harriet, you've been hitting the dating scene hard
Fun.
recently.
Oh yeah, you say that as a happily married with a baby.
This is details that I don't know about. How exciting.
Well, it's not like I go around the office saying, "Guess what, guys?"
We should.
Morning announcement.
Yeah, we love the chat.
Morning catch up.
Vanessa, also, do you think you're getting off scot-free? Because we know you've been dating too.
I know. What's the single gals here? aren't
What's
we?
the latest from Singles Corner?
Well, I think it's important actually for people not watching, people listening, to know that I'm 34. How old are you?
28.
Okay, so it's a kind of later dating for me. I think context-wise, I was in a really long-term relationship from uni pretty much all the way through my mid to late 20s. And then I was sort of in a situationship, shall we say, for a couple of years just before turning 30. And then pandemic. But I was watching Estée Lalonde is engaged, and she did a really interesting Q&A video about her relationship and what sort of led to their proposal and everything. And she said that they really did date through the pandemic, and like their first date was like a long distance walk, where you had to be
I felt
like,
really bad for people having
so,
to do those. Yeah.
And I really admired it. Like listening to it, I was like, yeah, like some of these 30-year-old gals out there committed through the pandemic.
Can I say my best friend had a Zoom date, like a Zoom first date in the pandemic?
no.
I think it was just
Awful.
Like what, both with a cocktail, like
No.
nice to meet you. Oh, it was like a meeting. Terrible.
And I fully admit that I went the other way. I was like, this is it. Like, spinster life is for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Just like over the summer this year, I sort of made it a bit of a New Year's resolution that I was going to try and get back out there, because I was a bit sick of people saying to me like, oh, you're single, and me being like, and then being like, well, do you date? And me being like, no.
Yeah.
And then
which
that sort of
which by the way only matters if one wants to meet someone.
Yeah,
Like, obviously
totally.
you don't need to date if one's, if you're happy being single. Yeah, but obviously
the other thing that I
proactive.
think compounds into my experience with the pandemic is that I had joined SheerLuxe 3 months before, so I was trying to get like new job, trying to not die from this deadly disease and all the other stuff like sort of down. So I feel like my head's just
get it down, not die from the disease. Yeah,
You didn't die. Well done.
Dating is hard.
Yeah,
It
so
takes
it
a
takes
lot
up
of time.
so
Yeah.
much time and emotional energy that you have to be so resilient. And resilience is not a word I would use about 2020, 2021.
Yeah, that's fair.
For myself. So so that's only something that's really sort of come back this year. I did sort of make it a New Year's resolution, realised I'd got to September and not done anything about it. So I was like, you know what? I am going to sign up to Match, which this is not a paid placement. I have paid to be a member. And the reason I chose that particular app was that I've sort of dabbled around on Hinge and all the others for years, and I just don't find them to be successful for me. I know loads of people have found success on there. And Match for me was directly related to my age as well. So whilst I think younger people do use Tinder and all of those other things, I think Match, I felt like I might find people on there who had like paid to be on there, which implies a certain amount of vested interest, and that they might be older and more mature. So I gave it a go. I would say it's been really interesting compared to Hinge. I would say, I don't know about you, Vanessa, what you're on or what you're not on, but Hinge for me is just like not successful.
Which one's Hinge? What happens on Hinge?
Hinge is the one where you do prompts and pictures, so it's not just pictures. It's like, and you can't. So when people like you, they come up on your screen and you can like them back. So it's not like Tinder where you don't know until you swipe.
Okay.
So you can actually see people that like you. What I like about Hinge is like you get a little bit of their like personality. But I agree with you. I find Hinge quite dry these days. Okay. I mean, only yesterday I got a message, because you can send a message when you like someone, and he said,
And you don't have to be matched, do you? You can just send it.
Sure. But he sent a message that said, "Are you a donut? Because you're curvy, a handful, soft, and something else." And I was like, "That's it. This is
That is
actually."
terrible. I thought it was going to be something way dirtier than
Yeah,
that.
same.
About the
I
donuts.
was, it didn't even make any sense. It wasn't even like, it was just terrible. I was like, this is what I'm left with.
Wow,
you know?
that's
So don't
bottom of
look
the
at me and
barrel.
say, how
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, you.
This is the
The
reality.
online dating scene is a rough one. Like you have to, like, it takes a while to find someone to go on a date with, and then you still don't know. You might show up and they might have lied about their height, or they might have used really old pictures, or have grown.
I have been on
a
so
goatee.
many dates where it turns out the pictures are more than 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
That's quite shocking
Yeah.
when you turn up and you think,
Yeah.
There's quite a lot
you
of
didn't even
changes
have
in
like grey hair in your photo.
Yeah.
Like what is this?
Which again, not that it's a problem, but it's the catfishing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
Yeah.
a great
Catfishing.
start, is
It's the
it?
catfishing.
And then you have to like process it in your mind, like in real time when you're on this date. So you're trying to hold a conversation with this virtual stranger at the same time as going through your mind of like, does this matter to me?
Yeah.
Like I'm having to like now readjust my complete like physical expectations and decide in this moment whether I'm going to leave after the first coffee or not.
Maybe what you're doing wrong is going
Yeah.
for coffee.
No,
You
the
should be doing something
psychic
harder.
who we talked about on
Yeah.
this podcast. Because basically, okay, so to put that psychic reading in context, people can go back and listen to that episode where I talk about it in more detail. But I had signed up to Match and it had basically gone explosively wrong, like on the first attempt. It really shocked me because, again, I was thinking I'm on this app where like people are paying to behave this way. Like that's very bizarre to me. I thought it might be different now that we're sort of post 30, but no. And this guy was older than me, so that's even more kind of disturbing in a way. So it was sort of that which drew me to go to the psychic. Because I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like people keep saying to me, like, put yourself out there. You know, you've got to be brave.
I hate when people say that.
I know, and it's
patronising.
so
Of course I put
unfair.
myself out there.
So that particular, I won't call it a relationship, whatever it was, had largely operated like in bars and with alcohol involved and stuff. Not in like a mega way, just like normal. But the psychic said to me, no more bars.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't think I can do that.
That's quite
I like my
hardcore.
drink with my
Yeah.
date. Well, I need
Take the
something
edge
to
off.
like.
The person who's kind of around at the moment, I have never ever had alcohol
Interesting.
every time I've seen him.
Okay.
And nor has he.
And that's been a more positive experience.
100%.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not anti-alcohol. I do drink.
Yeah.
But that's just happens to be a thing.
I guess if like you can get on a very like neutral ground and like you don't need that, then surely that's a really good sign.
Yeah,
that,
true.
Like
It's true. I'm not drunk with my husband all the time. Much
No.
as I'd like to be. So you do need to learn him sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what about you, V?
Well, I like going out like with my friends, and in an ideal world, like I like meeting people out. Like
Yeah.
I'm not very much, because for me, like yes, they can look great on a picture, but for me, it's very like a lot more of like how they behave during the date, how they hold themselves, how they talk, how
Yeah.
they like that. To me, is the attractiveness. So sometimes they look really good on the pictures, but then they show up. They either they're not nice to the waiter, or like they're just
Yeah.
like.
You can't get a sense of them.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that.
I always, and I get the ick quite quickly. It was 3 years, I think, I've been single. So like right post the first lockdown. And I ventured on Tinder, and that was like, that's more for like the wild first, like, oh, I'm single, like I'm just gonna date around. And then I went on Hinge because I was looking, okay, maybe I should look a bit more seriously, and had some good dates, but also like some weird ones. There's always like. And like we said with the catfishing, I once went on a date with a guy who had his like pictures from his model days on his profile, and I was like, oh, he's really cute. And when I met him, he had like grown his hair out, he had a beard, he had like
So
he had
different.
gained some weight, which obviously isn't a problem,
Yeah,
but like he
but it's
looked
just not-
so different,
Yeah.
and he wasn't attractive to me, and I don't like super long hair,
Yeah.
like it just I rocked up and I was like, wow.
Well,
But
this
then
is
I
what
felt
I'm talking
obliged
about.
to
Yeah.
have
Of
a drink
course,
with
yeah.
him.
You have to like sit
Yeah.
there and think, okay, like I have to decide now. In the
And that's
next
such a
half
waste
an
of your
hour.
time.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But that's why I struggle with the online dating, because then I was like, I kept like going on first dates, so many first dates that never led into a second date.
Yeah.
And then most recently I dipped in, I'm going to admit, I dipped into the Raya. A friend of mine had it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a
it a
little
go. See
try.
what
But
celebs
also I
you
wanted,
can
yeah, I
scoop
wanted
up.
Did
to
you
know
not have to be
celebrities.
invited to Raya anymore?
Yeah, you do.
Oh,
But
you
like,
do?
it's like pretty,
I think it's
pretty
that hard, is
easy.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's- it does cost money though, so I was like, I'll do a little test run. I just wanted to see. Generally, I mean, obviously, also curious about the celebrities. No celebrity matches so far. Sadly.
We're keeping everything crossed for you.
I know. Thank you. But I went on 2 dates, I think, so far from there, and yeah, it feels very similar. It just then like has this weird sort of thing where you sit in a date and you're like, so why did you go on Raya?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's like more of a like you're dating someone who wanted to be part of this.
Yeah,
like
that
I don't know,
makes sense.
but then you're also part of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't think, oh, I want to date someone rich and
Yeah.
But it's it's a bit
Famous.
like dating someone else who's got to say her house membership. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you're both a bit wanky. And that's just the
And you're just
reality.
going to embrace it.
Look, I can't help it.
Surely, like, they're all kind of the same, but it's then like the pool of people that sign up to the one that
Yeah.
you're on, and
Yeah.
like
There
the
is
luck
massive
you have
overlap
as
as
well.
well.
Yeah,
You'll
exactly.
end up seeing the same people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the same people.
Yeah.
From,
And I do think people say to me all the time, like, oh, how can you know that this relationship's going to work because it's so engineered,
Yeah.
the way you found each other, it's not destiny. And I say to them, if you spend a week on dating apps, you will believe in destiny, because
Yeah,
the chances that you like match on the app, get talking and think, yeah, you're not an asshole, that he doesn't message you dick pics within the first, and I meet like 34 and I'm dating 40-year-olds sending me dick pics. Like, what the hell?
wild.
Yeah, but this some men just
didn't
never
grow
grow up.
I know.
Like, yeah,
And
it's
literally
Peter
16.
Pan's over there.
Crazy. Then you meet on the first date and you don't repulse each other. You find out you do have similar interests. You both want to go on a second date. You both want to go on a third date. You both want to have sex
Yeah.
at the same time. Like,
The odds are not in your
chances
favour.
of
Yeah.
all
So
of this
true.
like coming true. It's exactly the same to me as meeting someone when you're out or meeting someone
Yeah.
in uni. Like,
Yeah.
it's all kismet.
Yeah, you're so right.
Have you ever dated?
Literally never.
neither.
Like a little bit as a no, not really. No,
No.
like there were boys before Ben, but not like I was like 17, 18.
Yeah, it's not the
so
same.
it's
It's
not
not real.
dating.
Yeah.
It's just like snogging, really. Like
Yeah.
it's not the same thing.
What about you, Lou?
No, never.
I mean, there's fun parts.
I'm sure.
Like, to me, what is
Please
the fun
tell me
thing
what
is
they are.
when you feel that first, like when you do meet someone that
Yeah.
like, it's obviously like most of the time it ends with like getting hurt, but like that first feeling,
Okay, my point is
that
made.
first feeling of like, ooh, like the
Yeah.
first
What is
kiss,
this?
you get
Yeah.
excited,
Yeah,
you
I've
tell,
had
like
that,
bit
yeah.
is nice.
And surely that journey of like, we're getting on, like, okay, this is progressing in the right
Yeah.
way. Like, I've learned that about you. Like, that's exciting.
That's
though.
but the problem
It's like,
yeah,
no.
that is nice. But the problem is,
It
at the
depends on
moment,
your
yeah.
attachment style, I think.
Yeah.
I have an anxious attachment style. I don't know if anyone's read anything about
No,
attachment
what does
style,
that
but if
mean?
you read Attached, it's a book
Okay.
by these two very prominent psychologists. So it's not just like some woo-woo theory. It's like backed by psychological science.
See, I have that book. I got gifted it, and I was like rude, and I never read it.
No, honestly, Vanessa, read it. You'll understand your behavior, like your behavior, their
This
behavior.
is where you're going wrong. Read the book. Is that,
Read
that's-
the book.
You read it.
Because it's been so
guess.
enlightening for me. Like, because
Go on, explain.
So
Explain.
there are three major attachment styles. There possibly might be more, but these are the ones worth knowing about, which is anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and secure attachment. And of
Okay.
course, the holy grail is like secure
I was
attachment.
going to say that sounds
Can you,
healthy.
can you
yeah,
describe
can you
them
say
all?
what they are?
So secure attachments start with like the goal is, you're very like attuned to who you are. You're happy to go out there as your true self. And if people don't like you, then that's fine. And if someone doesn't want to be with you, then you accept them for who they are.
And sorry, does this apply only to dating, or can this be friendships as well?
It
Is
could be
just
lots
your
of things,
relationships?
but I
Yeah.
have seen it used most
Mostly,
in the
sure.
context of relationships and dating. And then avoidant is basically all the fuckboys we go out with,
Yeah.
which is someone who perhaps love bombs you in the first week or two and then massively pulls back. And there are loads of things, particularly from female side, which would say like, oh, he's afraid of his feelings. That is true. Like that is avoidant. It can be part of avoidant attachment.
Yes, it doesn't have to be nasty avoidance.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to be nasty, but obviously it manifests as something that's quite hurtful.
Yeah.
And then anxious attachment is, all of these things are sort of derived by your childhood, but anxious attachment to me is like the one that's most obviously rooted in childhood or early trauma, which is, someone has hurt you, abandoned you in the past. So whether I come from a divorced family, so I think that's quite an obvious thing. But it could just be like a really bad past relationship where you were sort of dumped out the blue or something, or cheated on or whatever. And now it means that anxious attachment essentially manifests in you not being the chooser. The idea is that you want to be chosen.
Okay.
Because then, psychologically, and this is very deep, but you are then proving to
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
else
yeah.
who's abandoned you in the past that
you
they
can
were
be chosen.
wrong.
Yeah.
And that this person wants
sense.
me.
I get
And
that,
what
yeah.
it ends up in dating is that you end up compromising a lot of yourself
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're trying to fit into what you think they want so that they will choose
Yeah.
you. So to me, it's fascinating because I think, particularly in my 20s, and I'm obviously trying to do it less and less now, but I think I did do a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Even when I was in long-term relationships, not just dating.
Yeah.
Like I would constantly try and make myself as available, as perfect in their eyes as
yeah.
possible. And then when it didn't work, it would send me into a complete tailspin that then manifested in like horrible things like silent treatment or just arguments that then obviously
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
don't
Yeah.
result in a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
So if anyone's out there dating and thinking, I don't know why I behaved this way, I don't know why if he doesn't text me for 2 hours, I feel like the world is ending. read this book.
Yeah, interesting. Because it might feel like self-destructive behavior, right? But
Yeah.
actually,
But once you understand why you might be doing those things, it's a lot easier to then check in with yourself and be like, no, I think this is what's happening. I think this is what my brain is telling me. And there's also a big difference between like fantasy and facts. So your mind, I think, especially as women, like plays a lot of tricks in terms of like you over imagine either who they are or what they're doing or like reasons for why they're behaving in a certain way. So a really good exercise for me through this whole experience has been like checking in with like, what are the facts?
That's what my therapist always says.
Does she?
Fact from fiction.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think with messaging on apps as well, it's really easy to buy into a fantasy. I'm always someone who says like, don't do two things. Don't jump into constant contact, because then the minute that sort of levels off, which is natural, you will tend to feel quite anxious about it. And second, don't message for too long before meeting up.
Yes, a lot of people say that. I feel like my husband always said that. Yeah. Any tips from you, Vanessa?
Oh God, I feel like I'm not
authoritative voice over there.
one to give the tips.
No, but
I think for me, like this is the tip I gave myself because I was one of those when I was younger, like trying to like change myself to like fit, because like I'd find someone attractive and they had different hobbies than me, and I'd be like, maybe I can get into this. Yeah. So I'd say stay true to yourself. Like if he or she doesn't like you for what you are, then it's not worth it. Like as much as you force it, it's not gonna happen. Like it will eventually fall apart. So like, it's so important.
Because surely going forward, if that's going to be a relationship and you're not actually interested in the same things, then
but people do force it. They try so hard because they're so, they want to settle.
Yeah. And also if they've messaged for a long time, I've done this in the past, if you've messaged someone, you can get so invested in the idea of what being with them will be like, that then when they show up and their pictures are 10 years old and you think, I'm not even physically attracted to you, shit. Yeah. And now I've got to let go of the last 4 weeks potentially.
Yeah. I think the thing that, like, from what I remember, I think the thing that we tend to kind of fantasize, like fixate, like, create a narrative around more than anything else is a potential new relationship. Yeah. Like more than anything else in life, whether that's a new home or a new job or whatever it might be.
So I can remember being on a podcast with you, I'm going to say a year ago, maybe. This is going to sound so frivolous, but I think it's so interesting in the context of what you just said, which is you had been out shopping for like one of the first times post-pandemic, and you'd found a pair of trousers in Joseph that were like a terracotta leather.
They're so amazing. I still think about
You still think about them.
I wish I bought
And I can
them.
remember you sitting in that seat and saying, it's like when you are like obsessed with a boy.
And I remember that feeling, and that is like I don't wish to trade it in, obviously. Yeah. But like it is like, what do you agree? Like when you think that you're never gonna have that when you're first texting and you're just obsessed with each other, that is the best feeling.
But this is the danger, like with the imagining. Like I'm a person, like I'm a creative. I like think a lot. I come up with in Germany we call it Kopfkino. It's like head cinema. So like you start imagining.
Head cinema.
It's like you start imagining a world together, but that's not real. Like and with that imagination, you start imagining like traits that he has that he doesn't actually have in real life. And then that's when it becomes problematic, because then when he then breaks up with you or something, you're like, but
and on a WhatsApp, people can be their best selves, like because they have time, right, to think about like crafting responses. They're not face to face with you, where it's like the conversation flies so much faster. So they can take like an hour to post like the perfect message back to you, and you think, oh my god, he's amazing. He knows what to say every time.
But also someone else could be writing that for him as well.
Quite. And then you turn up and you think you can't even string a sentence together. Like, who the hell have I even been talking to? Like
knuckle draggers.
Crazy.
Gutted. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh well, keep us posted, babe. Yeah. Because I'm very invested now. But love to hear all about it, and sorry it's not easy.
Well, no, I think just before we started recording I was talking about it, wasn't I? And I was saying there is this episode of Sex and the City where Carrie is having lunch with her editor Edith, who's played by Candice Bergen, who finds herself single sort of in her 50s going into even 60s, and she says the key to sort of finding happiness, especially as you get older, is you have to stop expecting it to look like what you expected it to look like. And I think that's like one of the best pieces of advice anyone could give, because I think stop trying to make it perfect. Stop trying to make it this fantasy. Stop trying to think like, oh, but he doesn't have X, Y, and Z. Think about what he does have and if that's enough for you, and whether it just feels Right, I know it's like a real cliche.
No,
but-
I was just thinking,
totally.
like, obviously, look, there are certain things, like, practically that need to work, but, like, ultimately, and this sounds really mushy, but, like, if you're really in love, then that is sort of the most important
Totally.
part.
Yeah.
And everything else can kind of come later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how nice. Anyway, that was a tangent. I want to know what you have all been watching, reading, listening to. Vanessa? Well, you've been on holiday. You can tell us
Yeah,
about your
I was going to
holiday
say,
if
I
you'd
haven't
rather.
I'm actually going to quickly tell you what I have been watching because, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever watched something ironically, but we watched, have you heard about the trilogy of The Christmas Prince?
Oh, yeah.
It's like-
up there with some
it's-
of my favourite Christmas films.
Yeah,
yes.
but it's really bad, but it's so good.
I've not
because
heard
it's
of
bad.
this.
Oh, it's a Netflix.
It's so you should
special.
watch it. It's, we watched that just to like get us in the Christmas mood a little bit. It's a very lovely story of a reporter, American reporter, that goes to a made up country called, what was it called? Is it Aldovia? No.
Yeah, something like that.
Why is it
Something
always
that.
something
or
over?
something,
Yeah,
Always,
Ovia.
yeah.
And she goes to Aldovia to interview this prince, and obviously she's not allowed to interview him, and then she like falls into this role of the tutor of the sister of the prince, the princess, and then obviously they start falling in love, but he doesn't know that she's actually a reporter doing like an undercover story, and scandalous.
It's worth a watch. That alongside the Christmas Switch or the Princess Switch.
Oh yes.
Another absolute Netflix
you
classic.
can't expect cinematic greatness, but
No.
it is absolute entertainment.
Festive.
But yeah, so that's what I've been watching. But yeah, I mainly I haven't really been watching much because I spent the last week in Italy.
Where in Italy were you?
So we started off in Rome for 2.5 days, I think, where we literally just did all the like main tourist attractions.
Have you been before?
No, I've never been, so I wanted
Rome's
to.
a great city, isn't it?
Honestly, on the first day we went to one of the quarters. What was it called? Trestavara.
Yeah, it's so cool
Is
there.
that
It's
what it's called?
beautiful.
Yeah, we went to a little wine bar to have some vino. And then actually there were two guys next to us. We were both two single girls, and there were two guys next to us, two French guys, and we were like, oh, they're very fashionable, they're very cute, and Lola. And we were like so close to asking them like,
Oh,
you know
you
what
should
they're doing.
have,
No,
yeah.
but then it turned out they want a date with each other. So we were like, good
That's
thing.
amazing.
It was quite fun. But yeah, so we went for dinner afterwards, just the two of us.
Not what you'd planned.
At a restaurant in the quarter called Nanarella, where we had our cacio e pepe, which is a must, I feel like, in Rome.
Yeah. I think the food in Rome is like some of the best in the world.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to go wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they take it so seriously.
Agree.
You could literally walk in anywhere and it would probably
Yeah.
be
That's
all
the
right.
best thing about Italy.
No, because Venice, you can go so wrong.
Yeah.
Venice is so hard to find good food.
Okay.
Yeah, whereas Rome, I think the rest of Italy.
Yeah.
Well,
Venice is not
we had the
great.
rule that we could only go to restaurants where there's not pictures on the menu.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was like,
No
but
lamination.
I went
No.
with recommendations from the community. I posted in the community beforehand, and so Nanarella was actually on that list. And also, can I just say, the wine is so cheap there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so cheap.
All
So
of
cheap.
Europe.
Oh
yeah.
my god, yeah, it was great. And then next day, again, tourist stuff, and then we went to La Matriziana, which also was really, really, it's like quite a historic restaurant. Really, really lovely.
Nice.
Highly recommend. And then we went into the countryside because my friend's mum has a house there in D'Abruzzo where Montepulciano is made, my favorite wine. So then for the rest of the week, I had a ton of that.
Oh, heaven.
And more like, because it was in the countryside in the mountains, like we went to lots of little villages and everything was in Italian. Like no one spoke English, so we had to like do a lot of translating, but it was
Yeah.
quite fun. It was like an
Yeah.
adventure, and we tried loads of different little foods.
Do you speak
ice cream.
Italian?
No, but because I speak French, I caught on to things. Like I could understand things, and now I'm really determined to learn Italian.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do it. I felt at home. I feel so relaxed now. I feel like
so
I live
nice.
La Dolce Vita, and now I'm like nothing can stop me.
And how was it going to Rome in November? Because
Yeah, what was the weather like?
It was warm. It was 20
it?
degrees and sun. But I
Oh,
think we
so
got
nice.
lucky because it rained the day before we got there.
Okay.
And even in the mountains, it was significantly cooler. It was like 5 to 10 degrees, but still sunny. We only had 1 day of rain.
Okay.
You could already see the snow on the top of the mountains,
Wow.
which was nice. But yeah, like the weather was absolutely fine, and it wasn't as busy.
Yeah, that's
like
so
which
nice.
was so
So
lovely.
nice.
Like it felt like
Especially with Rome, like it's such a tourist trap that when you and when you want to, like when you haven't been, you kind of want to do those touristy things. To then not have plagues of
Well, and
crowds.
also to do it in the heat. I remember doing the Colosseum in like blazing heat, like 35 degrees, and it's hot, like, and you want to be outside and touring.
And there are a ton of tourists. I can remember coming back from Rome and saying it was like the most touristy place I've ever been.
It's very
It was busy, but it wasn't like I expected. The only time it was the Trevi Fountain was so because they had, I don't know if they have a festival coming up or something, but they had all the like fountains were gated, like it was like looking at the Mona Lisa. There was like queues of like being at the front. That was the only time where it was. I still got my picture. I was very happy about that. I went full tourist. I was like, but yeah. Otherwise, it wasn't too bad. We got around quite well, and then we went to where the Spanish steps are. There's all the like designer stores. So we went into those, and we went into the Prada store, and they now have a velvet bow, like a black velvet bow.
What, for the back of your head? Oh, did you get it?
No, I didn't get. I wanted it, and she was like, "You don't have to pay tax on it," like and I was like, but it was still 400 euros, and I was like, but she put it in my hair as well, and I was like, this is made for me.
You're such a hair bow kind of gal.
I know, and they always had the hairband, and I never suited that. That's too much for my hair, but the hair bow was perfect. And
I actually bought a silk Prada headband in that exact store.
Oh, you got
when I was
the
there.
headband,
It's a really lovely store.
It's a
I really
lovely
enjoyed
store.
it in there.
But
But yeah, all in all, a really lovely experience. And on the last day we took the train back to Rome to get to the airport, and the countryside was like so nice on the train. And we stopped in Rome for another bowl of pasta. We were like, we're going to be late for our flight, but let's risk it.
For the pasta.
For the pasta.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it was nice.
jealous.
Really, really lovely.
How nice. Lou, been watching anything?
We have been watching Lessons in Chemistry, which I know you've already spoken about, so I won't go into that. And so disappointed. We've started Time. So the first season came out, I want to say maybe 2 years ago.
This is one you loved.
I loved
prison.
it so much. Yeah, Stephen Graham and Sean Bean, and it's 3 episodes. And probably I would say like top 3 best bits of TV I've ever watched.
It was quite gritty, right?
It's very heavy, very heavy.
What was it about?
It's basically about, it kind of entwines 2 men in prison, one who is a prisoner and one who is a guard whose son is in another prison, and it's kind of a little bit like there's a bit of a they kind of cross over. Absolutely phenomenal acting, storyline. I was gripped. Only 3, like you're literally on the edge of your seat, and it kind of really stayed with me. So I was so excited to hear that another season was coming out. Totally different story, but about a female prison.
Oh, yes, on Channel 4.
Yeah.
I've seen it advertised. Okay.
I have never been so disappointed. The acting is so
But it's good people.
Yeah.
Bella Ramsey's in it. They're a great actor.
No, it's so cringy. The way that
Do you think it's a problem in the script?
And also, isn't Jodie Whittaker in it? Doctor Who?
Yeah. Again.
No, they're all rubbish.
I just
what a shame.
I need to speak to someone else who's watched it and see if I was just
Becky loved
on the
it
wrong
too,
page.
didn't she? So maybe she's
The first
seen
one,
it.
yeah.
Becky loves a gritty murder.
Yeah.
Cold Case Farm is like her favourite series.
I
I don't
so
know.
sunny.
It just doesn't have the same pace and the same. I'm just not. I don't buy into any of it.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah, real shame. Because I was so excited. So yeah,
That's a
it's
pity.
disappointing.
Oh.
Don't think I'm going to continue.
Has anyone watched the Robbie Williams documentary?
No, but I'm
Or just talking
dying
about
to.
it, yeah.
I feel like I'm in my Beckham documentary era of like, give me all the 90s
Yeah,
icons.
it's so true. And like a nice companion piece, having watched Beckham and then Colleen,
Yes.
we now need Robbie.
Who would be
now
your
have
dream one to watch?
My dream one.
Anna Wintour.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see that.
I just don't
know
think
she's
she'd ever do anything that isn't completely controlled.
I know, but I don't care. I just want like the more of her I can get, that's fine.
A Spice Girls one would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, agreed. But like
As a
a
collective.
total, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think the Taylor Swift one, Miss Americana, is one of the best.
It really
I
is
couldn't
so
agree more.
good.
It's
Like, yeah.
so
So
good.
good.
So underrated.
Oh my god, this weekend, sorry, was anyone else's TikTok just
Ablaze.
Karma is the guy on the Chiefs?
Yeah.
I'm sure this will be old news by the time this comes out, but like I think I saw it from 360
Yeah.
different angles from that concert. Like, and did you see her
Ends up running into his arms.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, Taylor Swift was back on tour again this weekend, and there's a line in her song Karma, which is usually Karma is something.
Karma is the guy who does
who
something
cheats or
shitty.
whatever, I
Yeah.
don't know. And instead, she said Karma is the guy on the Chiefs, which reference Travis Kelce, who is her new boyfriend, which has been very publicised, and he plays for the Chiefs. They are a baseball team.
Kansas Chiefs. No, they are a football team.
Whatever. Same.
She loves a dramatic little.
Because then the next lyric in the chorus is something like, I'm falling in love, I can't believe I'm falling in love again.
Yeah.
Which obviously for any Swiftie fan, like where her love life is like 50% of the brand.
Yeah.
That's so true. But did you see
intense.
what my favourite angle of it was her dancer's reaction? She obviously hadn't told anyone she was
Oh,
going
I
to
didn't see it.
So like, she's like on stage and all her dancers are like closed in and around her, and then she says it and they all go like, ah!
Did you
Loved
see
it.
his reaction with her dad?
Yeah. He gets quite embarrassed.
He
Yeah.
goes like this, but her dad is kind of weird. I don't know that I'd want my dad.
He was weird
He's
in
sort
that
of like,
documentary.
oh, was he?
Yeah, he's not doing
he sort
that
of like
well.
slaps him on the back as if to
Ooh.
be like, "You've made it, son. You've
Yeah.
done it." And then he's like cheering, and I'm just like, "Oh, just you know, she's like a serial dater. Relax."
Yeah,
Like,
I am 99% sure it's a publicity stunt.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I'm quite
She
confident
loves
this
the
is not
drama.
real.
Like
She
that's
loves
what like.
it.
no wonder she dumped Joe Alwyn. It's like he's so dull.
He's too dull for her. I know this. I might have said this on the podcast before, but it does really upset me that basically, as you said, I think it's more than 50%. Her entire brand, apart from "You Need to Calm Down," every single song ever is about a relationship and about romantic relationships. And like, she's got all these young girls who are obsessed with her, and all she's teaching them is to be obsessed with boys.
I know, it's true,
Like,
isn't it?
boys are not the be all and end all.
No.
peeps. I tell you that.
I mean, she is. You could make the argument that she's teaching them like to push back against slut shaming, as in you can have as many boyfriends as you
Sure.
like.
Sorry,
you shouldn't let the world.
I'm not saying there's bad messaging in there, but it shouldn't be like the only thing that she sings about.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
who was it? And I was like, I really rate how they never sing about. Maybe it was the Spice Girls. It was. Somebody was saying the other day, something, that if you listen to the Spice Girls
If you want to be my
music-
lover, say you'll be there. They never sing about boys. What?
No, they don't. Like, they talk about sex. That's not the same as talking
Yeah.
about like, I've been heartbroken. I'm so sad. My life's all about men. That is so different.
Is it not just that they were more just like bangers, and a lot of Taylor Swift is like
I don't
quite
think so.
introspective?
If you think about like Spice Up Your Life,
Spice Up
what
Your
else?
Life.
Spice Up Your Life. What else? What did I say came on the
Mama.
radio this morning? Mama. Sing about mum for God's
about
sake.
mum.
Stop right now.
No, it stops a bit relationship. No, who do you think you are?
That's a relationship thing.
No, yeah, but it's like a sassy relationship
like-
thing.
it's
That's what I'm saying though. It's
But
because they're
it's
sassy bangers.
It's empowering,
Yeah.
whereas Taylor Swift is not
not empowering.
empowering.
Yeah.
No.
Apart from
That's the
her
difference.
Revenge album.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
about
That was
Kanye
quite-
West. That's not about a relationship.
Oh, is it?
Well, the first document. So if no one's listened to this podcast from the New York Times, it's called the New York Times Popcast.
Oh, I feel like you've mentioned it before. Someone has, yeah.
It is so good. It's run sort of headed up by their music critic called John Caramonica. What he doesn't know about music, but he's so cool and like down with the kids. Like it's insane. And he is a massive fan of Taylor Swift from a songwriter perspective. Like he has real respect for like her graft and her craft. And every time a Taylor Swift album comes out, they do like a dedicated show where they go through like the meaning of every song and what have you. And it is so enlightening. And if you haven't listened to the one on Reputation, I would really, really recommend
interesting.
it.
I did
To be fair, I feel
wonder-
like the Spice Girls didn't write their own songs.
No, absolutely
No,
not.
absolutely not.
So,
They're manufactured.
Yeah, so maybe Tay-Tay's coming from the heart.
Yeah, true.
I agree though, like it is the easiest songwriting does feel to be the heartbreak.
Yeah.
Sort
Yes.
of like, but then I guess songwriting comes from emotion, so that's like
And
when
I'm
you
sure
feel
she's.
the most.
I'm sure she thinks it's the most universal experience for women
Yeah,
who
and
are my fan
everyone
base.
can relate
so,
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's got a lot of like 8-year-old fans. They can't relate to that. They just
Yeah,
love
but
the music.
the 8-year-olds will eventually become tweens who will then relate to like teardrops on my guitar and all of that.
Oh my God, I
Nonsense.
really-
Oh, the old stuff, the good old
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm sad I haven't been to see the Eras tour and I'm upset.
Me
I
too.
feel like I would
I'll
love
go
it.
with you because
Will you?
because Ben doesn't
We
want to
should
see it in the
all
cinema.
go. Let's go.
100% let's all go. I really want to
brilliant.
see
I want
it.
to go. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I really want to see. I think that's perfect. I'm not spending
Yeah,
hundreds of
same.
pounds to go
Okay,
see her
perfect.
in the I was going to say the theatre, wherever it is.
I think
I
I've
would.
mentioned
I
this
would
before,
much
but I
rather
went to
that.
see this country band when I was in the US in 2008, and Taylor Swift was the warm-up act.
That's cool.
Oh my God, how cool.
That is cool.
Speaking of Tay-Tay, have you seen Harry's new hair?
Yes.
Buzz
I
cut.
don't want us to dwell on it too much because I know the Lux girls on their podcast today weren't going to
fine,
dwell on
sorry,
it. So
sorry.
if you want that chat, it's over in the LG podcast on their
Okay,
platform.
okay.
However,
I think
said
it
the
looks
Lux girls. I think it is quite hot.
I think it's hot.
But I also kind of like when I think about
No,
Harry, I
I
want to run my
love
hands
his
through his
hair.
hair.
Yeah, I do
yeah,
love his
kind
hair.
of. But I feel like it's a real full circle, David Beckham moment, isn't it?
Yeah,
when he
it's like
buzzed his hair off,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And then now, when you look back, I think his buzz cut's one of the best looks he had.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Especially when he had like sunglasses.
Oh yeah,
on.
with the big
Yeah,
diamond
yeah,
earrings.
diamond earrings. I love it.
Yeah, I fancy Harry Styles so
So
much
much.
with like
Oh my
every
God.
part of my being. I literally love him.
So
I
does
just
my
think he's
husband.
When he
Unreal.
first went
Your
solo,
husband,
yeah,
yeah, I think
like
my husband does as
so
well.
obsessed with
Yeah.
him.
when
Like
he first went solo, he played a show at the O2, and no one in my office, I wasn't working here at the time, wanted to go. So I went on my own. So I am
go,
the
girl.
original Harry Stan.
Oh,
Everyone
right.
was saying to me like, "Ugh, Harry Styles, like, what are you thinking?"
Because
I'm
he
like,
wasn't cool then. One Direction wasn't cool.
Oh, see, I'm in the
But you were
One
an early
Direction
Stan club.
generation.
Oh, you
Like,
love
really,
it?
like all my friends as well, like loved One Direction.
I love
was
One Direction.
was Harry your favourite?
Yeah.
I love their music, but they weren't cool. Like I
Their
understand
music-
it's
they
much
weren't.
cooler
They
now
weren't
than
cool.
One
Their
Direction.
Some of their
is.
music's so annoying.
No, but it's so catchy.
But you
Yeah.
not sometimes just listen, you know?
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
makes
yeah.
you so
So
beautiful.
fun. Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
that I associate that with the sticky floors and the throwing up because that was uni for me.
Yeah,
So,
it is for me.
you know.
It is.
Okay, shall we answer some questions? God knows how long we've been talking for. This has been lovely.
Guys have taken up the
okay,
majority
yes.
of this podcast.
Someone has said, what is the best brand for affordable skincare? We are CeraVe girls. Are we not?
100%.
Like
yeah.
die hard. Harriet, I
Yeah.
know you're a particular fan.
I am. Their cleansers, I think, are some of the best on the market.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I had really troublesome skin. Other things have gone into it, but using their foaming cleanser, I think it's got salicylic acid in it, has been
blue one.
game-changing. Yeah.
You love it.
I absolutely love it. I use the hydrating cleanser and I've actually just got the foaming hydrating cleanser and I use that in the shower and the hyaluronic is epic. Their night cream is epic. I literally
And it should
love
be
it
said,
all.
the foaming products are not in that like horrible,
No, it's not drying.
like stripping
no.
SLS kind of way.
No.
It's just really nice and gentle.
Yeah.
We don't play favourites, but as far as affordable, hardworking
It's that.
skincare goes, it does win.
100%.
Vanessa, you're a fan?
Yeah, when I first started, I asked Lou what cleanser she is using, and she said CeraVe, and then I looked and I got one as well.
Didn't know
But
I was a
yeah,
beauty
yeah,
influencer,
you were-
but
you were
yeah.
first.
Well, the thing is, it's so affordable. You can,
It's
So
so
you
affordable.
can stock
you
up.
can just dip your toe in.
Experiment,
And
exactly.
just find the right thing because you're not going to break the bank doing it.
Yeah, agreed.
No.
My husband wanted a kind of a full new face routine and I was like, you need to get CeraVe.
Yeah.
It's like, you can get a whole routine for 50 quid.
Yeah.
And it's going to serve a really good purpose. It's amazing. What is your favourite?
Facial moisturiser, SPF, because as we know, SPF very important
Very.
in winter too. It comes in an SPF 30 or 50. So whether you're pasty like me, you'll have a bit more pigment. Thank you. And it's like all of their products, it's non-comedogenic, so it doesn't clog your pores. It's
And
developed.
that is so
So
important.
Yeah, I know that phrase from you. And also this moisturiser. It contains 3 different types of ceramides. It's basically the most fuss-free, but locks in the moisture, doesn't let the harmful things
Yeah.
come in. It basically is everything you need an everyday SPF moisturiser to be. Yeah. And it's just fabulous. So that's my one.
Yeah.
I should say we work with CeraVe. We love them and we can sell their products so authentically because we're all
Yeah.
obsessed. You can shop the entire range at boots.com, we should say. So okay, somebody has said, very confused. Lou, this is a question for you on what kind of boots to wear with different styles of trousers. Please help.
Ooh.
What's your tip? There's a lot of long trousers around as we've
I was
established.
going to say, I think
so-
all of us,
Yeah.
we're wearing trainers, but all of us wearing boots
Yeah.
have got like a wider cut, longer length.
Yes,
trouser.
I'm upset about mine today. I'm wearing like a flared trouser, and I basically wore these for height, not because I wanted anyone to see them. So I feel like you need a point.
Yeah, I think
I'm upset about this.
definitely with the longer line, I think you need a pointy
Yeah.
toe just to really elongate the leg. And I just think it looks chic. So yeah, I would go for a pointy boot.
How would you recommend wearing flat boots? Flat ankle boots.
Flat ankle boots.
Do you need more of a crop trouser for that?
Yeah, I think if the longer line denim isn't for you, then I think that's a nice way to show off. I think you don't want to see actual ankle this time of year.
Yeah.
So unless you've got a cute little sock on, maybe I think that's actually better with a flat, like a sparkly sock and a flat and a crop jean. Love that look.
I like that.
Um,
I must buy some sparky socks this year.
really good ones in
I
cos.
say I'm going to do it every year.
Yeah.
And I never do.
Yeah, free people generally have really good sock
Yes, they
selection
do.
That's
too.
good to have.
They do.
Side note, the Free People shoot that, all being well, this shoot came out today on
Yeah.
SheerLuxe, will come out today on SheerLuxe. And you guys, you shot Sapna and Florence on having this girls' night in a hotel. And it's just it's perfection. I literally am obsessed with it. Well, Props to you
such
both.
a
It
cute
was
day.
so
Yeah.
good.
The
The
highlight
images
was
are
seeing
unreal.
Florence try to tuck into a double patty burger
Whilst looking stylish.
whilst looking
Yeah.
stylish and
That's
chic
quite
and
funny.
not let it kind of drip all over
Obsessed.
her.
I love the spaghetti. I love. There's one where Sam was pushing Florence
Yeah.
on one of
On
those
a
like
trolley,
luggage
yeah.
trolleys. Yeah, it's so good. If you need good party wear inspo,
Yeah.
that is the shoot for you. And speaking of, somebody has said Christmas party. This is probably a bit early, but fuck it. Christmas party outfit ideas that isn't sequins. Any recommendations? Have you guys thought about what you're wearing to the SheerLuxe Christmas?
Ooh.
I have, but it is sequins.
Tell.
We put them in the daily edit, so if people want them, they can go onto the site and
Yeah.
find them, which is M&S have done an amazing pair of sequin trousers. They're only £55, elasticated waist, get in, and you just pull them on.
Flared.
Wide leg,
Nice.
sort of in a beigey sequin, beigey silvery sequin.
Nice.
Really nice. I guess like the base is like a nude mesh, and then they've put silver sequins over the top. And in my head, I'm wearing that with like a cream puff sleeve knit that I already
Nice.
have.
Cute.
Sort of like casual, but
Yeah,
see that
cool.
vibe.
pretty.
Love
Really
that.
cute,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great shout.
But it is sequins, and she has asked.
That's
for
true. That's true.
non-sequins.
We'll come to that afterwards. Vanessa, what have you thought about it?
Well, I haven't chosen one yet. I do have a dress that I wore for my birthday, which is sequins, but I went to Zara yesterday to return something, and I came across a red velvet, like a dark red velvet dress. It's like a slip
oh,
dress.
it's
like,
got some lace in it.
yes. And it's like, it was like so chic, so beautiful, but yet like festive because it's red and it's got no sequins. I think, velvet, like a sleek, nice velvet dress
Yeah.
is like,
Metallics always feel quite festive without
Yeah.
being sequins
Yeah.
true.
as well.
I think velvet, satin, sequins, they're your kind of opulent
Yeah, agreed.
like fabrics for some
Have you also? I did a silk pair of pajamas last year. Have you given any thought to a Christmas party outfit?
Well, Charlotte and I had an absolute win
yeah, we
last
did,
week.
yeah.
We bought this, again, sorry, it's sequin jacket dropped on H&M. It's got three?
Yeah, two big
bows.
giant.
Put it
You know when you know
on
something's
real.
going to sell out like
Yeah.
that. We both went like go.
Oh, it's so good. I've got the black, Charlotte's got the cream.
It's amazing. And you know what I have to say? It arrived. It feels a bit cheap, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's gonna be. It felt like it could be stretchy on, like
Yeah.
rather. But it
Okay.
is in the best way. It's like a comfort. It feels like a top.
Yeah.
But it's a jacket. It's really. It's not for big boobs because it's really quite like. There's no panel there. Like it's held
it's
together by
just
literally.
is it a
bows.
bit like the Saloni dresses?
Even more so. Like
gosh,
I'd say
okay.
the split is. Sorry for those listening, but the split is about here.
So that's not what the bows don't tie it.
You could tie it tighter,
Okay.
but you don't want to
The Saloni
too
gap.
tight. Yeah, you want a
Yeah.
bit of skin. And one's kind of up at the neck and one's here. And like, oh, it's just so good.
Oh, I'm
It's
so excited. I
good.
think mine's
Yeah.
arriving today.
Fun. I need a really good pair of black trousers. That's been on my, like, I've been thinking about that for a while. I feel like it would look best with that, like,
Yeah.
a black tailored pair.
Like a tuxedo pair.
Yeah, exactly that.
With like a strip down the side.
Yeah, or with like a little slit at the ankle. I also have, you know, the dress that Sapna wore in the Christmas gift guide shoot with
Yeah.
the sleeves. So I
Yeah.
have that in pale pink from Sleeper, which is like it's kind of like a pinky. It's pale pink, and it's got like really huge feathered pink sleeves. I actually do think I'll probably more likely to wear that.
Okay.
In the top because. Well, from what I remember from last year's Christmas party, there was fuck all colour from the SheerLuxe team.
Yeah, I
I
imagine.
wore, you wore colour and I wore colour, and
Yeah.
no
I
one
wasn't
else wore colour. And you know, lovely though it is for all the neutrals.
Yeah.
Nice to show
No,
that.
I also
festive
feel
dress.
like you could probably wear that jacket to more kinds of occasions.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Other things.
And this dress just says Christmas party.
Yeah,
Totally
exactly.
right. Totally right.
Exactly.
I could do that either with my white boots. Sorry, I fucking hate those white boots.
Paris,
Or-
Texas
Paris,
Those
Texas.
white boots have been on a
Bane of
real
your
journey.
life.
I hate those boots so much.
So
They're
uncomfortable. You
So
can't
uncomfortable.
sell
But then
them.
someone, no, I could because then I put them on
Yeah,
the community.
and then she was like, "No, I want to keep
Yeah,
them."
I put them on the community and somebody
All
made
you
an
do is
offer.
bitch about them.
I know, and Laura
Yeah.
was like, "Do it," and I was like, "I want to keep them. I want to keep them. They're just so pretty."
Yeah, so pretty.
They're so
Do you know
pretty.
actually what I quite like to wear is that, you know, that Miu Miu look with like kind of a sheer pencil skirt.
Oh, yeah.
With
yes.
then like big pants that are on show.
Oh
and
yeah,
a big grey
cool.
jumper.
Yeah, I love that look.
I quite like to do something
It's
like
so
that.
cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks amazing on all the girls who do naked dressing. all the
Yeah.
time, but I just can't. I just don't know that I'm brave enough.
Yeah, it's not my
There's
vibe, but I do
also,
like
I've
it.
seen, do you remember the knitted play suit?
Yes, and sorry, there's a new the Ray one you were going to
Yeah.
say. Yes, yeah. No, it's unreal. It's unreal. If I had your legs and your bum, I would buy that play suit. You have to. It's
So wait, is it
good.
short or is it
Okay,
long?
so it's like a jumper that it's almost like a romper.
Yeah.
It's knitted, but it's kind of sparkly
yeah.
this year.
Maybe I should try and get that.
It's so good. It's quite expensive for what
Yeah.
it is, but they have it modeled and it's got shorts and it kind of
And then a
ties
little
with a
tie.
tie.
How short are you talking?
No,
shorts.
they're short. But then you wear it with
Okay.
like a sheer
Like a
tie,
sheer
tie,
a sheer
okay,
black
fine,
tie.
yeah.
It's
Bare legs
really
feels
beautiful.
so
Yeah.
brave.
No, definitely not bare
No,
legs.
definitely not bare legs.
But like so snug and cozy and like
It's like the perfect party outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Really
if you can pull it
different
off.
as well.
it's lush.
Yeah, you should. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody. If you have any feedback at all, please do email podcast@sheerluxe.com. We love hearing from you. Don't forget, you can look out for the question box on social every week, or you can head to community.sheerluxe.com to ask your questions there. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.